Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here. I'm live from the Beehive this morning, and it's an overcast day here in Boston, but it's a nice day. I think we're going to get rain later on, but oh well, I guess we all need a little rain, and at least it's not snow yet, so that's good. Today's Casing Tuesday, and today's the day when we take a card out of the catalog, one of the samples, and we copy it. Sometimes we change something about it. Sometimes we copy it exactly. And Catalina and I started this group, over a year ago. We have a Facebook group now. And last week we joined forces with some new bloggers that are now blogging with us and casing cards with us. So now we've got this morning, I think there are at least 7 samples of the card that we're casing, and they're all different. So it's really cool. And the neat thing about it is that you can join us. You can absolutely do the same thing as us. This is not rocket science stamping or anything like that. This is very basic stamping, and it's really good if you're a beginner. If you're starting out, take a card and start with it as your example, and then just change some things out. Sometimes we don't have all the products that are in the card, so that it kind of forces us to create a different card because, maybe I don't have that ribbon, or I don't have that color card stock, or I don't have that stamp set. So then we look around to see, I could use this stamp set, I could use this ribbon. So it's actually a really great way to start creating cards. And the other cool thing is when you create a card and you take a picture of it and you share it with other people, then other people will comment on your card. And so that's what our Facebook group is about. It's not just about Catalina and I. It's not just about our blogging group. It's about all of you coming and sharing what you've made with the exact same card. And it's great because most of us have a Stampin' Up! Catalog. And if you don't, we also post the photo right there on the group. So you can just use the photo of the original card and you can look at our samples, and maybe those samples will inspire you. So I love it when you guys share your cards, and I love our blogging group. They have some awesome samples up there this morning, so go have a look at those. And so I would like to welcome everyone who's here with me this morning. And this morning I'm going to be stamping the card that I did for this challenge live. And in a moment I'm going to flip around the camera and I'm going to show you the card that we're casing today, and then I'll go ahead and stamp my card. So I want to invite you, if you're joining me, please go ahead and post any questions you have, or if I say something, if I make a mistake, if I call something different, call me out on it. I will go back and read all the comments before I sign off to make sure I haven't missed anything, because I sometimes do that. So I guess we can turn around and get started, and so let's do that. Just give me a second. I need to turn around my camera, and when I do that, it mutes what I'm doing. So I'm like talking and you're like, she's not saying anything. So it goes blank for a moment. So just bear with me while I flip this little guy around. Okay, there's my view this morning. It's kind of overcast, but let me just swoosh this around. Let me get this set up. Sorry for all the movement. Once I get it set, then I don't have to touch it afterwards. So here's the holiday catalog, and on page 27, we are casing this card. This was one that I chose. I chose it because it's a really kind of simple layout. It's got the oval focal point. You don't have to do an oval. And then it's kind of got a banner across it. I love this stamp set right down here. I don't have this one, but I've looked at it and I've wanted it. There's so many stamp sets in the catalog, and very few people can have them all, and even fewer people, if they have them all, can stamp with them all. So you kind of have to pick and choose. But this sample is great because I think it makes for some great cards, because we've got this big oval here with a banner across, and I think that will fit a lot of different stamp sets, and I think our blogger group has done an excellent job with that. So I created this card, and the photos on my blog don't really do it justice. I photographed it last night, so I didn't have any daylight, which is, it's never a good thing when you're photographing, but I had a busy day yesterday and I didn't get around to photographing it until later. But I love the way this catches the light. And so when you open the card, the snowflake, or the Star of Light thin lit, is on the inside. So it has a nice presentation for the inside. There's not a lot of room to write on this card, but as someone pointed out to me before, sometimes you don't want to write a whole lot. So this is a card where if you didn't want to write a whole lot, this would be perfect, because you could write dear so-and-so up at the top, and then like Merry Christmas, love, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, this is the type of card where there's not a lot of writing going on, but I guess if you need to write more, you could always use the back of the card, right? Or slip in a little letter on the side. But I like the way this looks. One of the things that attracted me to this card too was that little banner that goes across. And I'm going to show you how I made my little banner. It sticks out a little bit, you know, like it goes out and then in and then back out with the banner end. So I kind of like that look. When I first made this card, I actually made the star out of the glimmer paper. So this is the foil paper one, and this is the glimmer paper one. I ended up going with the foil one because it was a little bit cleaner look, and because I had the snowflake embossed behind it, I thought like this was a little bit like that. I didn't really know where to look because it wasn't very crisp, but I also kind of like this one, but I thought the silver foil one was just a wee bit better, so that's why I went with the foil one. So, okay, so how did I make this card? So I think the thing we need to start off with is grabbing my Big Shot, and let me grab that. So for the inside of the card, you're going to need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I've cut this to just a little bit smaller than the card itself. So this is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And I've got my, you know, my regular platform. It, you know, it comes in 2 pieces. So this is just the base platform that you emboss on, and you put one of your cutting plates down. And then you're going to take your, this is the Winter Wonder embossing folder. And this guy is retiring. So if you like this embossing folder, you need to get it now before it sells out, because it's while supplies last in the Stampin' Up! Store. So I'm just centering my snowflake. I'm eyeballing it, centering it in this embossing folder. And what I like to do for these, I think it helps with little creases, is I like to put this in on a bit of an angle. So I don't put it straight like that. I kind of put it on like just a bit of an angle. And then I'm going to run this through. And here is my embossed piece. Don't you love this snowflake? It's so, so pretty. I'm sure you're going to want this in years to come, because sometimes you can't find like a big snowflake like this to emboss. So this is definitely an embossing folder not to miss out of the catalog. So then the other thing we need to do is, we need to do 2 things actually. We need to cut a hole into our card base. Here's my card base. It's a piece of Pool Party cardstock. It is 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and then I scored it in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark. So I'm going to kind of just shove this through. I should tell you, I've got my magnetic platform here because I like to use that with my thinlits. It is a little bit more expensive to have the magnetic platform instead of just your regular platform, but I think if you do a lot of cutting with your little thinlits and framelits, I think it's worth the investment to get a magnetic platform. So I have that down. I have a cutting plate down. I'm using the layering ovals framelits, and I'm going to use the largest smooth one. And I'm going to center this, trying to eyeball it so it looks good. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. So then once I have that centered, yeah, it is centered. It just looks funny from this side. Okay, then I just put my second cutting plate on top, and then I will cut this hole out of my card. So that's my card base cut. Then I also need to cut a star, and this is the, what are they called? The Starlight Thinlits. I love these. They're so, so pretty. I'm going to be using this one right here. And where'd my silver foil piece go? So again, I'm using my magnetic platform. I'm going to use some silver foil sheet, oh, it's called, they're called foil sheets, I think. Anyway, it's silver foil, and all of the supplies that I've used, I have listed them on my blog post. So if you go in the description of this video, you'll find a link to my blog post, and there will be a supply list at the bottom, because sometimes I just slaughter the words. There's been so many products over all the years I've been stamping that after a while they start to blend together. So I am just putting this on my silver foil sheet, and I'm going to run this through. I like to, with these detail dies, I like to go back, and then I like to go forth and back, I don't know. But I go through 2 times, and then this piece comes off. Now you're gonna have to get this out of here. So I'm gonna take my paper piercing tool, and if you poke at the top and all of these end dots, that's what's going to start to lift this little piece out of this little die. So you can have a look, make sure all the pieces have come out, and they have in this case, so I don't have to use my tool to remove any. This, on the other hand, I might use my die brush because I've got some little pieces stuck in there. I might gently use my die brush. Never, when you're running over the top of a framelit, you need to be really careful with your die brush that you don't press too hard, because otherwise the bristles get caught in the little holes. But I might use my die brush to clean that, but I won't bore you while I do that. So that's all the die cutting we need to do. And so I've got this, I've got this, I've got my card base. Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to score. Yeah, okay, let me shove this aside. So I've got my Simply Scored here, and I'm going to show you how I did my little banner piece. And I'm missing my, here is my stylus tool that comes with my Simply Scored. So I've got a little piece of thick Whisper White cardstock. This piece is cut to 4 1/4 inches by 5/8 of an inch. And I'm going to score this at the 3/4 inch mark, the 1 inch mark, the 3 1/2 inch mark, and the 3 3/4 inch mark. All right, so the next thing, you can see the score lines on here, right? So I need to stamp my greeting in between these 2 score marks. So I'm going to use my basic gray ink pad, and I've got the Merry Christmas from, this is the, my stamps are coming out of here. Let me close this. Okay, this is the Star of Light stamp set. It matches the Starlight Thinlits, and it has this really beautiful Merry Christmas in it. It also has lots of other beautiful greetings, but Merry Christmas, of course, is very useful. And I'm just going to ink this up, and then I need to stamp this in between those 2 score lines. I'm just going to take a moment to make sure it looks centered, and then stamp it down. That's pretty good. And then what I need to do is I need to banner cut these ends. So, Oh, Karen asks if all the scoring measurements are on my blog. And yes, they are. I put the measurements for the banner and the little score marks to make it easy for you to find it. So let me just show you how to do the banner cut. So you can do like banner ends with, you can do it with a square punch, you can do it with our angle tag topper punch, but that particular punch does a very deep banner end, and we want kind of a shallow one. So I'm going to do my own banner ends, and the way I was taught how to do this, I can't even remember who taught me how to do this, but someone taught me this is a way to do banner ends. So what you do is you go up the center and you cut up as far as your banner you want to go in. I'm doing about 1/4 of an inch, okay? Then you're going to come from the corner and you're going to cut in to that little 1/4 inch that you came in. And I'm going to do the same for that side. So that's how I create my little banner end. So I'll go over to the other side and cut up a 1/4 inch as well. Come in from the corner. And then, I hope you can see that. Trying to keep my fingers out of the way. And then come in from the corner again. Okay, so I've got my little banner cut ends, and now all you need to do is fold back right along the banner like this, and then you need to fold the other way to get the banner to come out like that. So it's kind of just back and forth. Huh, that didn't work out right. Huh. So I got that measurement wrong. Maybe I need to do 4.5 inches. I might need to redo my little banner here. That one, 4.25. I must have started off with 4.5 inches. I'm gonna have to rewrite my little thing on my thing. I could have sworn I started with a 4.25 inch, but that is wrong. The scoring measurements, will actually stay the same, okay? But I started with a 4.5 rather than a 4.25 because you can see right here, that is just not quite right. See, that banner's really short. Okay, guess what? I cannot stick this on my card because it will look funny. So I'm gonna cut another piece. Will you bear with me? Just let me grab another piece of cardstock. Right, we are starting now with a piece of 4.5 inch cardstock. So let me do this again. So this is all live. Isn't this wonderful? My mistake will be on the camera forever. Yay. All right, so we're starting with a 4.5 inch by 5/8 inch piece of cardstock, and we're going to score it at the 3.25 inch mark, the 1 inch mark, the 3.5 inch mark, and the 3 3/4 inch mark. That looks better. Yay. I don't know why I thought it was 4 1/4, but it was late. It was a long day yesterday. I had a lot of stuff to do. So, okay, now I'm going to stamp again. Merry Christmas in basic gray, centered between the middle 2 score marks. Sure that looks good. That looks good. Now we'll banner cut again, and it's a 1/4 inch in. Oops. Now I'm just flinging things about. I just want to make sure that when this card is done, it looks good, because I don't want to have to take it apart afterwards and fix it. So, sometimes you just, that's a mistake that would be too obvious. Sometimes you just need to stop and redo what you just did. So, but at least the scoring measurements are right. How's that? Okay, so now you bend back and back, and then you bend these little guys here again, so you kind of got that zigzag, yeah. And now, when you put it down, now it looks centered. You've got little pretty banner ends, right? Ta-da! That was so easy. All right. Okay, so now, okay, now I need to stamp on my card base before I start assembling everything. I've got a little tiny piece of scrap right here. I've got this big swirly stamp from the, it's called the, let me get the correct name, Star of Light stamp set. I've got my Pool Party ink pad. And I'm just going to ink up this big stamp, and I'm going to stamp it. It doesn't matter if it goes to the back of my card base, but I don't want it stamped on my workspace. So you see, I just kind of add a little bit of tone on tone swirly stuff. It just adds to the card just a little bit, makes it, you know, gives it a little bit more depth. And since the stamp, like, this is all part of the same, it used to be a bundle. Last year it was a bundle. This year you have to buy them separately, but it was part of the same suite to begin with. It makes sense. It works well together. So then I just need to stamp this one down here at the bottom as well. And it just gives a little depth, a little swirl. Yay. Okay, so now I need to glue everything together. So I'm going to take my snowflake, and I'm going to take some Tombow. I'm going to add this to the back. Thank you for all the likes and the hearts. That was very dramatic, that banner error. Endeavor to do better next week, right? So, I'm sure none of you have ever made mistakes, right? There's no mistakes in stamping, just cover-ups, right? Okay, so my snowflake is down, and now I need to add my star. So I just want to close this and have a look and see how that looks. I want it kind of centered in the window, and it kind of depends where you put the oval as to where you put everything. So this one, I'm going to make sure that this little tip down here is down in here, but you don't need to know that, because if you're making this card, your oval might be a little bit different. So you're just going to have to figure out where your star looks best in relationship to the window. So you just kind of find a landmark on there, and that's what I'm doing. I'm going to aim my star to that landmark. I'm just putting a little Tombow on there, and then I'm going to add this down here to the bottom like that. Okay, and so I can do one more thing while I'm here. Usually I do the embellishments at the end, but I have two embellishments. So these are the beautiful clear faceted gems. So I'm gonna take one of these off here, and this is my paper piercing tool. It makes me feel all fancy when I use it. And so I'll just stick one right on the center of that. That kind of just anchors the center. So now when that closes, it already looks pretty, but I think it really needs that banner, doesn't it? So for this little banner, it's coming across this window, so I can't put adhesive on the whole thing. So I'm going to take a little bit of this tear and tape, and I'm going to put it right near the ends of the banner. I'll show you in a second. I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see exactly where I placed it. Because it should fit over the oval. So, okay, so here you can see right near this banner end, I put just a little strip of tear and tape on both sides. Okay, so the trick with this, I'm going to remove the adhesive liner. Can't even speak this morning. And I'm going to take my Merry Christmas. Now, I want this to be able to send flat, right? So if I just stuck it down like this, and then you sent it in a card in an envelope, it's going to get squished down kind of funny. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you fold this down so it's flat, and you're going to place it on there so when it's flattened, okay? So you're going to bring it across, find where you want it. I'm holding those folds down while I do this. Look at it, make sure it's centered, and when you like how it looks, then you're going to lay it down like that, because now you can see you can mail this flat, right? If you didn't do that, if you didn't adhere it flat, then it will get squished funny. So now it kind of will lift up a little bit, I think, even when it comes out of the envelope, because it's got that extra layer on it. Let's see if I can show you. You can see how it's sticking out kind of cool like that. I love that. I'm going to use that again. I just saw that on that card and I was like, yep, that's a really cool thing. And I'm sure other people have done this before, but this is new to me. Okay, the last thing I want to put on this card is some of this beautiful ribbon. This is called the Silver Metallic Edge ribbon, and I took a 10-inch length and I created this little bow. You don't want to watch me tie bows on video. It's never pretty when I'm tying. Like if I tie a bow by myself, I'm like do, and it's done. When I do it on video, it's like I'm scrutinizing myself as I do it. It's not a pretty sight. So here's my little bow, and I'm going to use a mini glue dot or a glue dot on this row right here. And I just take it, stick my knot of my bow right on top of one of those dots, and then I lift off. Now that little dot is on the back of my knot, and I can stick it on my card like that. And there's the card. And I think it looks pretty good. It looks a lot better in person, I think, than it does on a photo or even in this video, but it reflects the light, so it's kind of pretty. And so yeah, so I made 3 of them. You could probably do them, it might look nice in different colors. Like if you like red, you could do like a red background. And I don't know, I have a preference. If I use red, I like to use gold ribbon. So we also sell this ribbon with the gold edge. So that's kind of pretty. So let me scroll and see if there's any questions. Oh, my friend Laura from Memphis is watching. I know sometimes I pick people to say hi to, but Laura is a stamper from way, way back. I started stamping with her like maybe 15 years ago, and she was in a stamp club of mine. So that's kind of cool that she's watching. And Janine is here like usual. Let me see. Did anyone have any questions? I'm right at the end of this video, so okay. Yes, and so I will correct my measurements on my blog, Karen, because I did my little banner it was a 1/4 inch too short, the measurements I give you on the video. So I will. Catherine says covering up mistakes is the most fun. Yeah, you can use all your embellishments and stick them on there. Yay. Okay. All right, let me turn you guys around one more time. Okay. All right. Okay. I am back. So I hope you guys are inspired to create your own card. And the cool thing is, again, make your card, take a photo of it. Use your phone. You don't need a special camera or anything. Use your phone and post it on Facebook, on our Casing Tuesday Facebook group, and show us what you did with that card. I know you have supplies sitting around that you need to use. And then after you've created the card, I encourage you to mail it to someone. That's a great concept too, right? Some of us, we create cards and we think they're so pretty, and they sit there and we don't mail them. So put your card in the envelope and mail it to someone. All right, I have one cool thing to show you. If you want to wait a second, I want to show you something because it came in the mail about a week ago, and there's not too many people that will really appreciate this, but you know, you might appreciate it. Just hold on. So look at this. This is my Stampin' Up! Carry-On suitcase. Isn't it cool? So this suitcase, I'm sure if you followed me on my personal page, I posted that I made it into the global top 100 in Stampin' Up! Demonstrators in the world. That's like amazing. I was like really, really shocked. And so we got a beautiful charm and we got to walk across stage, and we also get this really, really cool suitcase. And I was really, I'm happy for everyone's achievements. And when they started like announcing some of the winners on Friday, I was like, they're getting that beautiful suitcase. And I was like, and I like that, and I'm not gonna have that. And I was like a little bit sad, but then I'm actually getting this suitcase, and I'm like still really, really shocked. I don't know where I'm going to take this beautiful suitcase because I'm going to be scared to like damage it. But they added this cute little card on here, and it's really sweet. And like, look at the artwork on this. Isn't this like phenomenal? Look at the back. It's like amazing. Like, I don't know. It's just so cool. I will like have to put it in bubble wrap to take it anywhere. But I thought you guys would appreciate that because, you know, it was my first time getting like some sort of big prize like that. Of course, I've earned the trips, and those are phenomenal as well. But this is just like really, really cool that we got these suitcases. And I hope you're not jealous of me. That's not why I showed it to you. I just thought it's just so cool that a stamping hobby, if Laura is still on here, she can attest to that. I started off as a club member in someone's stamp club 15 years ago. It's been a long time, and I was never ever going to do this as a business. I was like a hobbyist, and I loved stamping. I loved doing everything, you know, right from the beginning. I really enjoyed it, but I was not going to like, you know, I had no intention to ever do a class. I was just like enjoying it as a hobby. And so, you know, but then 3 years in, I signed up as a demonstrator. I've been demonstrating now for 12 years. And lo and behold, now I actually have a little downline team, and some of you are on here today, and I love you guys, and I have great customers, and some of you call me and place orders with me, and I love that. So thank you to all of you, because I wouldn't have this suitcase, I wouldn't have the trip, you know, without all of you guys supporting me, and I really, really appreciate you. So thank you so much for all of you. So what I hope you will do is join us on the Casing Tuesday Facebook group, because this is something that you can really join in, and there's a lot of activity over there now because we've got people blogging and sharing their samples with us, but we want to see your samples too, because it's not, this group with Catalina and I started, it's about everyone. That's why we're trying to get more people involved. We want you to post your cards, because that's cool, and that's how you're going to learn. So by copying cards, by copying changing cards, that is how you begin to understand the mechanics, and you begin to understand what looks good, because the cards that are in the catalog have been designed by an artist, and so they have like an artistic eye, you know, the layout's good, you know, and so usually it's easy to create a card using that sample. So I hope you will join us, and I will be back here next Tuesday with my next card, and I hope you will join me then. So until then, have a great week, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.